Hi, welcome to the Author's Lounge. My name is Cheryl Mays and I am your host, and I am so excited to bring to you today an author that's going to share not only her book, but her experiences behind the book. So you literally get to hear the story behind the story. We will meet author Jill Kapri, the author of Hoes in the Hood. Jill is a author of not only one book, but multiple books. She's also voted as number 4 and then number 2 in African American urban fiction. And she is also listed in the London Edition magazine. So you will definitely want to come back and hear from Miss Jill, and we get into this book because I'll tell you, there's a lot going on in this book, so you don't want to miss it. So definitely join us after this commercial.
DreamSpire Books Virtual Launch Box. Everything you need for a successful virtual book launch in one place. Timelines, press release templates, social media advertising info, graphic design, an interview on our streaming network, and a personal coaching session. Don't forget your thank yous and so much more. Visit us at www.dreamspirebooks.com for more information.
Hello, Miss Jill. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I am well. All is well. Listen, you got to tell us about this book. But before we even get into all of that, tell us a
Okay.
little bit more about you.
Well, I am author Shawntaye Kapri. I'm a self-published author. I'm from Chattahoochee, Florida. I currently live in Panama City. I've been writing ever since I was about 9 years old. I started writing poems at the age of 9. After my father was killed, I wrote him a poem expressing to him how much I miss him and how much I love him. And that was how I started writing. I would just write poems to express my feelings. And as I got older, like around my teen years, I started reading urban fiction books, and I started playing around with short stories in my teen years. And once I realized that I could like write and create stories, I was like, okay, this is something I want to do. And I actually started reading books by Wahida Clark and Ashley Antoinette, my two
Mm.
favorite authors. And once I started reading their catalogs of books, I fell completely in love with writing. And I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is my destiny. I'm going to write books. And we started from there 4 years ago. I did a short story challenge on Facebook. I had over 100 likes. It was shared over 100 times. A lot of people really liked it. And that was just my confirmation from God that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be a writer.
There you go. Wow. Listen, so you started at a young age and you were influenced by an experience that happened with your dad, the passing of your father. And so tell us about that journey, because that's literally what started you on the path of literal writing beyond poems, because you
Right.
went from writing poems to now writing short fictions and stories. And I know you said you won the contest, but there was a time when you literally thought you were going to stop writing.
Right. hmm
So,
Well, the situation with my dad, like once he passed away, I completely shut down. I wouldn't talk to people for a while. Like my family, I kind of like shut them out. And I just started expressing myself, writing in my journals, writing in my diaries. Everything I wanted to say to him, I just would write it down.
mhm.
And so that's that's how that went about in regards to my dad's passing and me trying to find a way to deal with it. I would just write how I felt. I would just express all of those feelings. I would pour all of my emotions into my diaries, into my journals. And once I hit about 22, I had went through so much in my life, especially relationship wise. And I just got to the point I was like, something have to make me feel better. Something have to make me get back to my old self because I had hit rock bottom at that point, or at least that's how I felt. And so I started writing. I just like randomly started writing, and I just thought about everything I went through from my dad passing all the way up until the abusive relationship I was in. And once I got to writing again, I started feeling so much better, and I knew I had to keep writing. Like that was my only way to overcome everything that I have overcame. I had to write.
And you know what's so interesting is because I think sometimes authors get into that same mindset of you when you had your first two books didn't do as well as you wanted them to. And
Correct.
you were literally going to like put your pen and paper up and, just call it a day and,
Correct.
no longer follow that dream of yours. And then you had an encounter with someone that inspired you.
Right, right, absolutely. So I wrote two. I've been wrote the books, but I released two books last year. I self-published two books last year. One titled "A Diamond from the Rough," which was supposed to be my memoir about everything I went through in life, from me losing my dad, my relationship I was in, my addictions, my depression, all of that. I wrote it all, and I released that one. I also released a short story titled A Twisted Story. But at the time, I was new. I didn't know what I was
Mm-hmm.
doing. So I had no idea I was supposed to be trying to sell the books to people, like basically trying to bring in like a fan base, audience. Like
Mm-hmm.
I had no clue that's what I was supposed to be doing. And I had nobody to tell me like that's what I was supposed to be doing. And the books had a lot of mistakes in them, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my gosh, I think I probably made $30 in royalties off of both of those books together. So I got so down and I got so stressed out. And I went to go talk to one of my cousins, and I was like, listen, I don't think I can do this. This is too much. It's no way that only 500 people is reading this, but on the internet, you got thousands and millions of people reading books. I'm like, I'm not gonna make it as an author. And my cousin was like, don't talk like that. Like, what you doing? You breaking a curse right now. You breaking a generation curse. You're
Mm-hmm.
stepping out and you're doing something that none of us at the age of 20, 21, 22, that we're doing. Like, you breaking a curse. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're gonna open the door for the rest of us. So don't give up. You just gotta think about that one book that will open the door for you, for people to be like, okay, she really not playing. She really is writing. She's an author. So me and my cousin, we sat there, we talked. She gave me a few ideas, and I was like, you know what? I got it. And she was like, there you go. Put it together. She gave me the vision, and I put the words to it, and that's how Hoes in the Hood came about.
And you know what's so interesting about what you just said, because that actually leads into that piece of great advice
Mhm.
that you received as an author. And what you shared with me was that everybody will not like your work, but you brush that off and you keep pushing.
Right. Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
And I
I
think
went to bat for
oftentimes
you.
as an author, that's something that, doesn't happen all the time because, even in anything that we do, we kind of hope that that first one is like, we got to be dead on, we got to be spot on. It's going to
Mhm.
blow up. Everything is going to change in our worlds, in our lives. Everybody's going to recognize who we are. And then when that doesn't happen, it's like the dream is inflated.
Right.
And so you kind of go back into that hole, right, where you're just,
Mhm.
your self-esteem has been warped, your dreams have kind of been, they've been blown, and so you now go, okay, well, who am I?
Right. I went through it. I definitely went through it, and I stopped writing. Like I stopped writing for at least 6 months after that because I just felt so overwhelmed. I felt like if they don't believe in me, then I shouldn't believe in me, which it should have
Mm-hmm.
been the opposite. And so once I started like pushing it inside of my head that in order for people to believe in you, you got to believe in yourself. You can't just give up because this one failed. So I'm not going to even sugarcoat it. Um I started researching the pros and cons of being a first time self-publishing author.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that I came across, it was like naysayers, or you won't make this much as a self-published author, or you won't be this big as a self. And so that was my motivation to be like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna change the game. I'm gonna be a self-published author, and I'm going to kick the door down. Everybody that's saying I can't do it, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to change it for everybody who's coming after me that want to be a self-published author. We could be just as great as a traditional author. The sky is the limit. So I went for
I
it.
love that, especially it's time to be a game changer. That is my favorite
Yes,
motto. That is my favorite verse, is to change the game.
you have to.
There
You
you
have to.
go. Guys, you are listening to Jill Kapri, the author of Hoes in the Hood. And we haven't even gotten to the book yet. So after this commercial, we're going to talk about the book. We're going to talk about where it came from, because I had an opportunity to read a synopsis of the book, and it is some exciting stuff going on in this book. Let me just say that. So you definitely want to come back after this commercial.
All right. Bye. Hey, y'all. Just ironing my man's clothes. Got the phone with my girlfriend. She say, "Why you ironing your man's clothes?" "I don't be ironing his clothes." I said, "Yeah. You don't have to iron your man's clothes for him to drop you off at your job in your car." But my man takes care of me. And as long as my account is straight, his crease is going to be straighter than the part on the lace front wig. Watch. Oh, but you can best believe, if I ever check my account and it ain't right, he going to have more wrinkles than Betty White. Ooh, I love the sound of that. Y'all hear that? There's a Coach bag. Matching shoes. Whew, y'all a little girl. Oh, my bottle watch. Listen, I take care of my man and he takes care of me. And if you got a man to take care of you, you take care of him. But if your man ain't taking care of you, take him somewhere else. Come see me next time. It's a little dasher, baby. Love you.
Thank you for joining us on the Author's Lounge. I am here with Jill Kapri, the author of Hoes in the Hood. And this is not only one book, but there is a part 2 to this book. And so, Jill, share with us about the book itself. What is it? Where did it come from? What was your inspiration? And just give us a deep dive into the book without giving away all the secrets, because we want people to buy the book and learn from the book.
Okay, so Hoes in the Hood is a book that I wrote. It's about a short urban community, and basically it's what we call the projects. And in the projects, you have several females who, if they don't have the same baby father, they have multiple children. If they don't have multiple children, they're backstabbing their friends. If they're not backstabbing, it goes on and on and on and on and on. It's the typical of the real that goes down in the hood when you're living in a urban community. You have so many females around my age group who doesn't value themselves, and they lack morals, and they jealous, and it's like the only way that they feel good or they feel happy about themselves is tearing the next person down. It's a lot of backstabbing going on in the book. It's a lot of um lying, deceit, cheating. It's a lot of everything that goes on in the book. However, I do touch on domestic violence in the book, and I wrote it because it shows the things that we as women are okay with when we want to just be loved, and we go about trying to get love the wrong way. When we see the next person, and I'm saying we because I've been there. That's why I wrote the book. I can relate to every female character in my book in some way. And I say that because we as women, when we see somebody else with something that we can't have or that we can't get, I'm the type of person, I will stop at nothing to get it. But I don't know the background to how that person got it. And I think some women, it's much easier to them being a what's the word I'm looking for? Being in competition with the next woman instead of just joining her. So in Hoes in the Hood, you're gonna read about Treasure, you're gonna read about Lala. Everything that I wrote about is true to a certain extent. You have friends that was friends forever and they just completely threw it all away over a guy.
You know, one of the things that you say, and I love that, it says, these are the things that happen when you settle for less.
Right. Mhm.
And
I
so
was
when you,
there. I was there. I went through it. I was okay with settling for less in a relationship that I was in. I was okay with not being treated as the queen and woman that I am, because when I lost my father, I had no male role model. I had nobody
Mm,
to show me this is the way that you're supposed to be loved. This is what you're not supposed to accept, male wise, because my
mhm.
mother and my grandma was there for me 100%. But due to the fact I was so traumatized from losing him, I was rebellious to the love that they was trying to give me. I was rebellious to it. I thought I needed friends. I thought I needed a boyfriend. I thought I needed all the wrong things at that time when I had already had it at home.
And, I think this is so interesting because when you think about the title of the book, Holes in the Hood, and you think about the lessons that are actually in the book,
Mhm.
this is something that is, for a young girl, this is huge to be able to see other females and the things that they've gone through, and to be able to see yourself in some of these situations, and even to see yourself and saying, wow, I was headed that way.
Oh, absolutely. I was headed that way. I was riding in that lane. I had to jump out of the car.
I like the way you said
I had to,
that.
I
But
had
to
to jump
save
out of
my
the
life, you
car.
just had to jump out the car and go, okay, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I had to jump out the car because I was too that same female. I thought that being with dope boys was cool. I thought being shot at was cool. I thought being beat on and being neglected and mistreated was cool. I thought that that was love, and that was not love. And
Mm,
when you have women that go through that and they go through it for so long, they get complacent with it. So it becomes normal to them. And then when they have children or they have daughters and they see their mothers go through that, it's like a mind thing. Okay, yeah, he take
mhm,
care of me and he say he love me, but all he do is beat on me. He say he love me, but
mhm,
all he do is cheat on me. So once you have that cycle going on and you raising your daughters, they're gonna think that's okay because my mama went through it.
mhm.
My mama took care of us by letting him beat on her and by him doing this and by him doing that. And so even though it is titled Hoes in the Hood, I really, really want every female to read it and understand the message that is behind it.
Mhm.
Even though the title is like super crazy because they really are doing whorish activities. That's what goes on in the hood. You go to the hood, you got five females. You probably got two that graduated from high school. The other three, they probably selling what they could sell. They probably being with this person that got the most money. They probably having babies from that person that got the most money. That's just ordinary. It's ordinary. And society make it okay. It doesn't just happen in the hood. It happened all around the world. NFL, NBA. You have women who uses children as meal tickets. They
Mm.
don't care who they betray to get to the next level, and that's just what it is.
I love the fact that within this book, there are so many different experiences,
Right.
so many different scenarios of individuals' lives that you can literally see, you know, the growth. Because, and I don't want to give the ending of the story away, but there is a part two to this book also, because this is part one.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about part two.
Oh man. Part two is actually my favorite because like you said, as I wrote part one last year. And I actually wrote part two this year. I actually completed part two within a month. And even though it was kind of like rushed, I felt that I had grown so much as an author.
Mm,
The way that I presented it, it was like, whoa, it's no way you thought of all of that. But I did. And so with part two, I do add about two or three more characters, but again, it's a message behind it. It goes with what I'm trying to show that goes on in the hood. You have your typical I think I'll just give this part away. So I have characters named the Whole Sisters. And with these Whole Sisters, you have one, she's the youngest. She's really trying to graduate and be a better person. You have the second oldest. She is evil. When I say she is so evil, she's the definition of self-hate.
Mm.
And she don't want to see nobody else happy if she's not happy. She really is the definition of self-hate. And the oldest one, she's like the one that keeps the sisters together, you know. And the other one, she just there. She's just there. But so I actually love their part in part two. I bring Treasure back to give her story.
Mm-hmm.
Because Treasure is a fan favorite. Everybody love Treasure. Everybody love Cousin Wu. Cousin Wu does return in part two along with her sisters. So it's going to be even crazier than part one. It's going to be crazy.
So, guys, there you have it. Hoes in the Hood, not only part one, but part two, because once you meet the characters, you want to find out what happens next.
Yes.
The books are available on Amazon. So you can get the books on Amazon. You can also follow Jill let's see here. You are on Facebook as author Jill Shawntaye Kapri.
Yes.
You're on Instagram as author Jill S. Kapri. So
Mm-hmm.
you can definitely follow her. Listen, you're going to want to find out what happens next. So I know you're going to want to stay in tune, stay in touch, subscribe, follow, share, because this is probably something that is going to entertain you. I know you're going to laugh, you're going to cry.
You definitely don't laugh. Cousin Wu is like, when I tell you, she's been like the fan favorite. She's the one that makes the book funny. Even though, we go through all the trials and the tribulations and all of that, you definitely still gonna get a laugh out of it. You're gonna get a life lesson out of it. Even though the title is kind of like over the top, I gave it to y'all blood raw and real. That's how it goes down in the hood, baby.
There you go. You heard it from the author herself. So you definitely want to check out Holes in the Hood on Amazon, part one, part two. And then there is something else that you have in the works. You are doing a memoir entitled A Diamond from the Rough, the true story of Jill S. Kapri. And that's coming out in a couple of months.
Yep. So that one that's actually the first book that I released last year, but like I said, it didn't go so well. So I took the approach to repolish it. And I'm working on it again because I'm ready to tell my story. I'm ready to tell everything I went through. Hoes in the Hood, I gave y'all how it goes down with everybody else. So now I'm going to present it to you, who I am and what I went through, because I come from the hood. I really do.
That is
But
awesome.
that just doesn't define me anymore. But I do come from it, and I'm going to tell my story about it.
There you go. Well, I want to read it. I want to find out what's going on. I want to read it. I want to find out about Cousin Wu and all the sisters and all the craziness, because you need to be entertained, especially during this time that we're in. You need to be entertained. And this is something that's going to do that. So you definitely want to do that. Hey, author Jill.
Yes, ma'am.
What is it that you want people, we've kind of talked about this throughout the interview, but what is it that you want a person to literally walk away with after they've read this book?
Well, for my female readers, I definitely want y'all to read the book, and I want every female that read it, I want y'all to take a moment and take a step back to self-reflect. Because sometimes as women, we don't always value ourselves. And when we don't value ourselves, we let other people devalue us. So I definitely want every female to read it and gain that sense of self-confidence and just be, oh Lord, what's the word I'm looking for? I want us to just come together as women and see our worth regardless. We don't have to be envious of the next person. We don't have to be like, we're stronger as a team.
Mm.
We really are. And I just want every female to know that and understand that you have somebody in this world that's just like you. And everybody in Hoes in the Hood, them girls just like y'all.
There you have it from the author herself, Jill Kapri from Hoes in the Hood. You definitely want to get the book. It is filled with all kind of excitement, entertainment, some things you probably haven't even thought about, or some things you just don't want to tell other people about. So
Right.
you will definitely have an opportunity to do that. Miss Jill, thank you so much for visiting us on the Authors Lounge. I am so excited to have had you here today.
No problem. Thank you for having me and giving me this opportunity.
Absolutely. Guys, you heard it here. Holes in the Hood by Jill Kapri. It is available on Amazon. You can also follow Jill on Instagram and Facebook. So you definitely want to do that. And you want to stay in tune to the Authors Lounge. You never know who we're going to invite. Someone that's willing to open up. They're going to share their experiences. They're going to share their book. They're going to share their messages with you. And we enjoy having authors from all genres to be able to come and do that. And you also have to follow us on YouTube at DreamSpire TV, on Instagram at DreamSpire TV, and then on Facebook also at DreamSpire TV. Thank you so much for joining us today. So you have an amazing day.